Whenever I contemplate about what I'm going to be saying in any given video, I can't think of anything. It's kind of like it's all cloudy. And if I try to get any structure to my discourse, then I'd just be thinking and it'd go blank. And I'm like, wow. It just doesn't work like that with me. It's the stream that's working with me, and that's why I'm saying it's not really me that's saying it. There is no me. There is consciousness which works through us. And when we become highly in tune with this, we just see it as clear as day. And we can feel it. Ah, goodness me. And so anyway, I often, wake up with a theme and something to impart. And I looked on the channel if there's any comments from the other side of the world, and there were three from the whole of America, or that hemisphere. And the last video I put up, it's kind of like 177 hits, 9 thumbs up, and I don't know, let me just check, 15 comments or something. No, 8 comments, 9 thumbs up, and 177 views. And I look at that and I go, well, what am I speaking about in that video? I'm speaking about the essence of what it is to be a human being, God, consciousness, Carl Jung, psychology, spirituality, self-development. I'm talking about the peace and the love. And who's interested? Who's interested? And then I think, well, people all over the world, they're all in their own worlds, they're all doing their own thing, and who knows about Carl Jung? Who's studied Carl Jung? Very, very few. Who really knows about their deep inner peace? Who's found it? Hardly anyone. Whoever goes out into the wilderness completely alone and does entheogens, I would say none of you guys. I mean, some of you've took them in the past. How many of you actually go a long way away from society and do them on your own with that level of security and that freedom and peace? And so, I'm saying to you, am I an alien? Well, of course, I'm very alienated, and the things I speak about are very foreign to most of you. We're just not living in the same world. And then I say in that video that I'm doing nothing less than what Jesus did. And how many of you can just accept that? How many of you can just get your heads around it? How many of you can see the rationale with that without feeling that there's something inside that's resenting that, and you comparing yourself to Jesus? And do you know who Jesus was? Do you know who Jesus is? Do you know what Jesus is? Guaranteed, again, there isn't a single one of you that does. Who has had Jesus speaking to them? Who has had Jesus working through them? Who is in that state of mind, which is the Christos? How many of you? Yeah. Who has had a relationship with the God of the Old Testament? Who has been chastised for 3.5 hours? Just been pointed out all of the transgressions that I had about love. Who's done that? Who of you has been propositioned by the devil that you can take your life any time you want to? You can do it right now. And this went on for months, people. Who of you have experienced these things? And if any of you have experienced anything like this, then can you put the pieces together? Do you have the mental wherewithal to be able to put these pieces in their appropriate positions of where they should be in this metaphysical, phenomenological hierarchy of human consciousness. How many of you think like this? How many of you read? And so, well, the comments speak as plain as day. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. So, as I said, you know, I'm looking for another platform. I'm looking for another avenue. And one of the two reasons I'm in therapy is because I just want to speak with somebody. I just want to have a heart-to-heart. Who can you do that with? You know, if I sat down and, you know, tried to have a heart-to-heart with anyone, all it's ever going to be is about their pain and suffering, ultimately, about their frustration. That's all that's going to come flooding out. Because nobody's got to resolve on this. You have to get that all out off your chest before you will become empty, before you can become calm, and before you can really listen, before you can really speak, before you can really engage with another human being on a very important and meaningful level. So, you know, I speak like this, and I say these things to you because I don't see any reason why I wouldn't think this. Very, very rarely do I see any indication from you guys. You know, it's kind of like one a day. One decent comment a day lets me know someone's out there. And I was just in a meditation this morning, and I was contemplating on my life. We see, when we go into the meditation, I just go into the nothingness where there's no thoughts at all, and there's just this. It's kind of like it's this. There is an energy, there is awareness, and it's just beautiful and flowing. And you see what I'm doing here? This is the natural thing, how I explain it. This is infinity, people. This is the figure of 8. This is a symbol of infinity. And so when I describe where I go into the infinity. And in there, it's absolutely beautiful, and it's the most nurturing and wonderful place you can ever be as a human being. It's like being back in the womb, only not as noisy. You don't have the boom, 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 boom. You can't hear all the external stuff outside of the mother's stomach. And you can't hear her speaking, and you can't feel her stress and all these different sorts of humanisms. So I go to that space, and that space is incredible. And I ask myself, why would I want to do anything else except be there? And if I'm not there, then I come out into a tier up from that, which is engaging in human life in a very tranquil and peaceful and beautiful way. Not running out of the house, jumping in the car, on the bus, on the train, facing the phone, and all this ridiculous nonsense that the vast majority of the human being is engaged with these days. So I go to the dentist yesterday, and I'm sitting in the waiting room, and there's like 6 other people there. Every single one of them is just looking in the phones. And you've got mother and daughter, then you've got boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife, whatever, and then you've got 2 other separate people, and nobody's talking, nobody's looking at each other, nobody's bidding each other good day, nobody's saying, oh, it's a lovely day, and nothing, no engagement at all. Everybody is just closed. And even with each other, and I just stood over the shoulder of one of these people, and it's flick, flick, flick on TikTok, just with everything, just keep flicking and flicking and flicking and flicking random shit. That's all that's in people's minds. And you know, I draw in a deep breath of sadness and pity and a feeling of waste and a pathetic existence. That's the vast majority of the human being, a pathetic existence. So, I'm going to be speaking about a lot of things, and I'm really getting to some point here. How many of you will really be interested in the point? How many of you will be engaged? How many of you will sit down with great interest what the Awakened Brave is going to be saying now? How many of you? And then how many of you will be sparked into inspiration about thinking or doing things yourself? How many of you will just look at it and then it will just wash over you and you'll continue just to be the dead same non-vitalized entity that you are? And you won't even wonder why you're watching my videos. You know, I can't help thinking, people, there's many of you that have been around for a long, long time, and every now and again you put something down, and yet the same numbers are watching the video, so it seems that the same people are there. And I'm like, so I move you, what, once a month, once every 6 months, is that it? What's going on with you people? It's very, very concerning. It's very disconcerting. So, here's the thing. Last night, one of the videos I'm listening to is Russell Brand speaking with Terence Howard. How many of you know who Terence Howard is? Goodness me, he's on the circuit, he's out there, he's prominent. You don't know who Terence Howard is, you don't know who Cole Young is, you don't know who René Descartes is, you don't know, I don't know, a billion people I speak about, you don't know who they are. And you've got no intention of learning about these people. And so, when I was speaking to James, some of you watched that video, he's saying, well, it takes me, a long, long time to get through your videos because there's so much stuff in there. And whenever you say something and I don't know what it is, I end up having to Google it and then do some research and then maybe listen to a short video or something like that so I can grasp where you're coming from. How many of you do that? How many of you actually, if you do read, come upon words that you're not familiar with and you Google them so you are familiar with them? How many of you just wash over and just go on to the next word and you don't grasp what is being said? How many of you retain any of that information in any case? How many of you would ever go back a page or two or a chapter because you just found that you weren't grasping what was being conveyed? See, when you listen to me, it will be self-evident, it will be as plain as day that there is a vast difference between certain people's levels of consciousness. And I can't imagine what you think because you never say. I mean, it would be just nice now and again if those of you that were learning that you're young and you're not too bright and you've not even started really on this spiritual journey, if you just said, I'm only young, I'm not that bright, I don't read books, but I do watch your videos and sometimes I do get something and that's what keeps me. I just like a little bit of something, just to see inside this camera, just to see inside my YouTube channel, instead of looking on the channel and there's nothing there, nothing meaningful. So, I was listening to Russell Brand and Terence Howard. Terence Howard is an actor, black actor, American, and he's also a very unique thinker, and he's invented a lot of stuff, and he's got a lot of very, very peculiar ways to look at the world and the construct of it, and deeply involved with physics and metaphysics and these sort of things. Most scientists blow him off. Sometimes scientists, give him the time of day and say, well, we don't know whether we can discount this stuff because it's very new. This guy's pioneering in lots of realms and areas and contesting what mainstream science is saying. But the mainstream scientists are all suffering from their own dogma and from their own self-hypnosis, and they're all in this cult of scientism whereby they think that they're going to find the answers when, truth be known, if you ask them, they haven't found any answers. All they've got is hypothesis. They don't know actually how anything works. But, you know, they can say, well, when we put this chemical together, we put that chemical together, then we'll get chrome, and we can coat steel, and we can, you know, make shiny things, and, you know, like the old bumpers on cars, and, you know, physics and chemistry and things like that. They can say, well, when we do this, when we do that, that this happens. But they don't know why these things happen invariably. And if they think they do, it's only a hypothesis. So, listening to Russell Brand, and he is speaking about Jesus and the direction, and what he's saying is, and this is very poignant, people, these people's perspectives. Russell Brand is was an addict and still is. He professes that he's always going to be addicted to something. That's his personality. And even in recent times, he was taking CDB, this marijuana stuff that, you know, is supposed to calm you down and this that, and the other. He finds it very stressful doing what he's doing. He doesn't want to do what he wants to, what he's doing. But of course he's earning a lot of money from it, and it's giving him the life that he kind of enjoys. And he just recently flew to Tennessee to see an MBMA fight or something, and he's in a private jet and he's living the dream. And so he's got to be a slave every single day. Hello, you 7.5 million awakened wonders and everything. In the comments, in the comments, in the comments, put in the comments, keep feeding me, keep feeding me, keep feeding me. What do you think? What do you, that's what I think. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Same old thing. Just, it's a form of begging, isn't it? And the desperation of like, you know, they're doing this now. Oh, this is terrifying. How many times these days do we see, this is terrifying, that's terrifying, we're all going to be terrified. Oh, click on this. Oh, please come and give your energy to me. It's pathetic. And it's even more pathetic from a man who professes to have found Jesus. If he's found Jesus, surely that would be enough. That level of beauty and contentment that one would have, supposedly, apparently, but what's the reality of it? He says openly, he says, you know, I have to try very, very hard lots of times not to say things negatively about people who are attacking me or who I don't agree with. So it's a constant fight. He also says that he has to have Jesus in his life, because if he doesn't, then he's going to fall to pieces. He's always on the precipice of imploding. He's always on the precipice of going AWOL. And so he just constantly reminds himself, Jesus, 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 Jesus. And he fiddles with his cross and his prayer beats, Jesus, 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 Jesus. And then thinks about masturbation, then thinks about porn, oh, Jesus, 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 Jesus. And then he maybe see a beautiful woman and think, oh, you know, remember the day, Jesus, 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 Jesus. And then he wants to F and blind about somebody, oh, Jesus, 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 Jesus. And then he gets tired of his life, oh, Jesus, 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 Jesus. That's all he's fucking doing. And he says that he's got to hang himself on the cross. He's got to sacrifice the flesh. And that's the whole premise of the metaphor behind Jesus, people. To hang on the cross is to kill the carnal flesh. You've got to kill the body and you enter into the spiritual domain, and you live from the spiritual domain, denying the body, denying the ego, denying the flesh, denying the human impulses for lust and power and all the rest of the stuff which we get running away with ourselves, if not constrained in any measure. Now, that's Russell Brand. On the other hand is Terence Howard. And Terence Howard says, look, in the early days, I was indoctrinated into the church, and I'll go to the church and they tell me that how this is bad and that's bad and everything else is bad. But through my life, I've met people who have influenced me and they were wise, and I asked them, what's the secret of life and what would you be doing at my age when he's 27 and he's 30 and he's famous because he's an actor and this, that and the other. And then they say to him, have as much sex as you possibly can. Just be free and unconstrained mind and just do what you want to do within the parameters of causing no one suffering. And so then, he's very familiar with the Bible and much of it, and he says, well, look, God made us in his image, and he's given us his attributes, so therefore we must be God. He thinks very much like I do. And if I'm God, then I'm going to act like God, and I'm going to govern myself like God, and I'm going to be hopefully intelligent enough not to do too many stupid things, but I'm not going to be prohibiting myself from masturbation and copulating with as many women as I can get my hands on, and enjoying being gluttonous and haughty and all the rest of it. No, if I'm God, I'm having a godly-like experience. And so you've got these two polarities. Now then, I'm pretty sure that Russell Brand at some stage will be looking at Terence Howard and being very envious because Howard is still in the sexual availability realm, whereas Russell Brand's been married for like, what, 6-7 years, but I'm pretty sure he's almost celibate. I mean, his wife's got 3 babies. How much interest is there in sex with partners who've been together that long and got babies, and the babies are everywhere, and they're invariably in your bed at the same time, and you're all tired, and of course Russell Brand's head's going to be filled with shit. Well, how much sex is involved? So therefore, he's going to be Jesus. He's going to be crucifying himself on the cross to keep that fake life he's living alive. Because probably he doesn't find his wife sexually attractive anymore. He's got lustful thoughts all the time. He's sick and tired of doing these stupid videos. He just wishes he can run away. But he sacrifices his body and his desires and his humanisms every day on the cross. Who the fuck wants to live like that? I thought being in a relationship with God and Jesus is supposed to be a wonderful, beautiful thing. Or it doesn't sound like it from his perspective. It sounds like it's one big scrap. It's pathetic, people. So Terence Howard, he's like, fuck it. That's what it says in the Bible, that's good enough for me. And so, we take certain bits of it. And the thing is about Terence Howard, he's been involved in drugs and all the rest of it, of course, but he's not got an addictive personality, probably other than his lust for sex. And so he's thinking, well, I'm just going to satiate the devils within me. They're only little devils. And after all, the devil is the part of God in any case, and I'm God, so of course I'm going to be devilish. And so then you can see 2 very different perspectives, can't you? Why do they have their perspectives? Because their conscience will allow them to live like that. Russell Brand's conscience won't allow him to live like Terence Howard. Terence Howard is never going to be celibate and bound to one woman and not do drugs and all the rest of it. Oh no, goodness me. And so we all find our niche in life, don't we? Now, in my relationship to God and Jesus, it's a very deep one, it's a very profound one. Having met these in some shape or form, having them actually come to me without me seeking them. I haven't been praying, I haven't been begging, oh Jesus, come into my life. Oh Yahweh, please, I love you. Oh, I'm bowing down to you. I'm afraid of you. I'm terrified of you. Oh please, no. I'm like, fuck Yahweh, fuck Jesus, you both come and suck my cock. That's as far as I'm concerned. And so if you think you've got power and you want to do something, well, just do it. Just fucking do it. Because I am a great believer that if they are God and if they are Jesus and all loving, well, I'm absolutely immune from their wrath then, aren't I? If they are all loving and we're God's children and Jesus came down, the embodiment of God, to die for us, to save our sins, goodness me, we must be really important. So, well, I'm pretty sure then that there wouldn't be too much smiting going along, and there wouldn't be too much, causing us to have abominations of lives like God and the devil set out to create for Job in the Bible. You see, you've got all these polarities, and this is the thing about it, people. Every single place you look, if you look long and hard enough, you're going to come upon the paradox. And so the whole thing about God is a paradox, because we have projected into the fucking clouds where nobody can see, so nobody can verify, and everybody should be terrified of, like, the boogeyman behind the clouds, some fucking where is he? Or he's up there somewhere, or I shouldn't be masturbating, or I shouldn't be thinking about converting my neighbour's ox, and all this different sorts of nonsense. It's humanisms, it's psychology. We have a left brain, we have a right brain. The right brain can think about all wonderful, beautiful things, art and music, and love and peace and all that. The left brain is a conniving, devilish motherfucker. And so then what do? Well, we project those into our gods, 4,000 of them all over the planet. Religions, who knows how many gods. So you see how it works. And what do we do as individuals? Well, we pick what we want from them. We cherry pick what we want. And so some of you guys are hopefully very, very few these days. Oh, Jesus, 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 Corinthians 6, 7, 4, 2, and all that. You've got not got a minds of your own, you've got no experience of your own, you haven't got a single clue what this life is all about. You're completely lost and misguided. It's so pathetic. Religious people are so pathetic. They're just too far out there in some stupid realm of really, really base consciousness. And then the scientists, they're a close second. Philosophers are at the top of the hill. They've seen over the mountain. They know what it's all about. And I suppose you could put some of the height of the gurus like Buddha, put him there, but all the rest of the Buddhists, what do they know? They just follow. They're just followers. And so they don't know anything. But you see me, I have to go with what I know. I'm not a follower, I'm not subject to dogma, I'm not subject to fear, I'm not going to be bowing down to any fantasy about this God or that God and this, that and the other. Goodness me, if I was born in the Middle East, then I'd be fearing Allah and Muhammad, wouldn't I, if I was religious? If I was born in Tibet, then, you know, I'd be a Buddhist monk and I wouldn't believe in anything. People can't see this. They just can't see it. They can't see outside of their tiny myopic state of consciousness. For goodness sakes, just stand on a hill somewhere and look across the top of the world and ask yourself, what is out there? Everything's out there. Everything you could conceive is out there in human consciousness. And then you look at your own consciousness and you go, well, what do I believe? What do I know? Who do I think I am? And then if you think long and hard enough about those things, you'll be where I am, where you don't believe in none of it, because none of it's real. There is no I, there is no self, there's just fictions, there's just ideas. So anyway, throughout all these years I've been on a journey, and the journey is kind of really getting somewhere now. I'm really, really approaching the top of the mountain. And how do I know I'm approaching the top of the mountain? Because all what is said from those who have been to the top of the mountain, who are on the top of the mountain, who have read and learned what the top of the mountain looks like and feels like, well, I'm there. And these feelings pertain to peace, stillness, acceptance, non-judgment, I'll get to that, love, the chemicals in our body, God, Jesus, and unconditional love. Now, the peace, I'm completely peace. My body's at peace. And when the therapist says to me, oh, you know, see if you can find a feeling in the body about any of these alters and parts, and I say, there's nothing there. I don't feel anything about these. I've got to resolve completely on every single one of them. I don't carry the weight of it. I've worked all that out for myself. I've worked out how to be pure, and I am actually pure. The stillness. I'm in the stillness every single day. I meditate every single day. I'm taking nature walks every single day. I'm emptying my mind every single day. I'm working with music, which is a beautiful, fluid stillness, because there's no thoughts in there. There's just music in there. There's just the essence and the vibration of the cosmos. Acceptance, yeah, you know, some of you think like, oh, you don't sound like you've accepted, you know, supercilious, this, that and the other, and I'm always telling you, so listen up very carefully now. I deploy characters, I deploy alters, I deploy these parts, these spirits. That's what's going on here. There's many of them here, and they want their say. They want to live vicariously through this human body, so I allow them to do that. Because this thing has gathered up all of these energies and spirits along the way for reasons I can only assume, because it's a very exciting thing to live in this body. And that's why Jesus and God and angels and the devil all want to have a relationship with me, because it's a very exciting journey with what's going on here. There's a lot going on, and if anyone is going to be able to know these egregores and these spirits, then someone like me is coming close. And as close as I've ever read about anybody else coming close. I just haven't read or heard about people having these experiences so profound and for so long. You know, you can listen to people about near-death experiences. Oh, I died and I went to heaven and I saw this tunnel, I saw God. Well, yeah, and it all sounds so very vacuous. They never touch me. They never touched me. I can't see, I can't feel it in them. I can't feel the passion, the emotion. I can't see God. I can't feel Christ. I couldn't sniff the devil. No. Oh, I went to heaven, I saw light, and yes, God was with me, and he said it's not my time now. Oh, for fuck's sake. I just go, please, what have you done to me? What have you done to me? And then the only explanation, the rational explanation is, well, nobody's done anything to me. I'm God. And this is why God does what he does, because left to his own devices, he goes insane with his own, what can you say? I mean, with his own infiniteness. If he's just God and he's just infinite, and it's just infinite forever and ever and ever, then you would think he'd want to mix it up a bit. So God mixes it up a bit. And he mixes it up in every single thing created in the cosmos, and he hopes that some of the things he mixes it up with can express how he feels and engage him in something which he enjoys. And so I can't help thinking that every time I go out into the nature and I'm looking at the natural world and I'm feeling the sun and I'm feeling this beautiful creation in its purity, then I know that God is happy about that, because this human body in a level of perfection, appreciating the Garden of Eden, well, what more does God apparently want other than us to worship him and kiss his ass? Well, I don't think that's necessarily a thing, because it's too much of a contradiction. And even if he does want in his insecurity for you to worship him, well, worshipping yourself is him, worshipping nature and animals is him, and so therefore he must be happy with that. You see, how many of you can think along these levels? How many of you can glean some sort of level of acceptance with the rationale that I'm speaking? Because if you look at all this stuff with the rational mind that the cosmos gave us after 13.8 billion years, it must amount. It must amount to something, people. It has to amount to something. And when we start, you know, teetering on the extremities of human consciousness to the parameters where we can't see or go any further, it must amount to something. So, what I know about my journey and my experience, I've never been alone. Why haven't I been alone? Because I'm God. Either I'm God or I've been commissioned guardian angels like Gabriel, Raphael, Michael, and Phanuel. They're all taking part in this journey, protecting me and ensuring that I serve them in the best possible way. And so, well, that's why I can spend an inordinate amount of time seemingly alone, but I'm never alone because they are always there. There's always the essence of God, of the devil, of Jesus, of Buddha, Allah, Muhammad, you know, Vishnu, or Krishna, or whatever. They're all the same thing. They're all the same thing, people. And if they're not exactly the same thing, then they're just cultural variances of the same thing. Just like human beings are the same human being. We can be Chinese or African. We look very, very different. We're going to be thinking very, very different. And yet, the essence is basically the same. Huh? So, when I have these experiences of Jesus being within me, God chastising me, and angels seeing me, and then I have moments of samadhi when the whole world just goes still and it reveals itself to me because my egoic consciousness has just melted away, and all I'm left with now is my human perception, and my human perception sees and feels God. There's no other way of saying it, because when you look at the world, it's so amazingly perfect, and there is a feeling there that it's all for you. It's such a warm, beautiful, glowing, nurturing feeling, and so there has to be something like God. Otherwise it's just a condition of the mind. When the ego goes off, that's our default state, absolute bliss. And it's a very similar bliss to when we go into the deepest of meditation. It's pure bliss because the ego's gone away, the human being has gone away, the world, the cosmos, everything has gone away. And all that's left is just a swirling infinity of bliss. Can you get your heads around this, people? Have you got anything to say about it? Is there anyone that knows anything about this stuff? Or am I God just speaking to myself? Right, so feeling this beautiful bliss and having these experiences with these egregores, then when we take certain substances, we can have entities enter into us, and I'm speaking about these in previous videos. Amanita muscaria. Spirits of animals and humans come and experience the human being. They live vicariously through you. It's like they have a cameo entrance, and they come into a human being because the vibration, you've just took this red and white magical mushroom. That's the portal, that's the key, that's what allows them to come through. And for as long as that chemical is in your body, then the door is open. And it's the same with mushrooms. As long as you've got psilocybin mushrooms in your body, the door is open for the higher self or your archangels or God to come and experience life through you and help you and guide you and this sort of thing. And then when those mushrooms wear off, well, you're back with the ego. The ego's took over again, the default operating system. And albeit you can still feel very spirited, you can still feel very calm and mystical and magical, but the ego is like, oh, I feel like a shit. Shall we get something to eat? Bit thirsty. Are you going to watch that video later? Are you going to upload this video? And also blah, 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 blah. You're back in the human fiction again. Now, when you take DMT, DMT brings about a simulacrum. A simulacrum is an overlay of another world, and everything goes like cartoon, and it's all happy, and it's kind of like, oh, the flowers are kind of like this, all the trees, they're like that. You know, this is this beautiful, playful thing about DMT. And it's very godlike, and it's supposed to be the chemical. The molecule is almost identical to serotonin, and so your mind gets flushed with what I consider is to be the God particle. Now, Dr. Rick Strassman, he wrote this book, The God Molecule, DMT, The God Molecule, and he had 60 volunteers who were taking DMT intravenously, and they would go under the influence of DMT for about an hour and 15 minutes, and they all came back saying that they had the most marvellous miracle of an experience that they've ever had in their lives. And it was so shocking, but not terrifying, because you're not terrified there. Even if a pterodactyl is operating on you, cutting you open to have a look what's inside, and even if a crocodile is having sex with you, you don't feel too traumatised about it. And so that's the beautiful, amazing thing about it. Wouldn't it be horrendous if you went into the DMT experience and then you actually felt the emotion of these things, and you brought the emotion back, and it terrified you for the rest of your life, that when you die you're going to be bummed all your life by crocodiles? This shit happens in the DMT world, people. And it happens in the astral also. And so there's all this different sort of stuff going on. But it happens to the astral body, and the astral body doesn't have any emotions, so therefore it doesn't matter. It's just an experience. So this love that we get flushed with via DMT. And I asked the question, well, this DMT love is very, very similar to the love that you will get in a deep meditation, when you feel so blissful that tears stream down your cheeks, tears of joy. That's the same realm. So your brain must be releasing a massive flood of serotonin, the same as DMT is, only you don't necessarily have the visions. You can have lots of visions whilst you're in deep meditation, when you're in the theta realm, so therefore it's very similar, and the things you see can be very, very DMT-esque. So then you can get it like that. Then just by these samadhis that come about. Some people have the samadhis. I've had like 2 or 3 in my life where all of a sudden you just in another world. You're in the world without the ego. And it's kind of like, I want to stay there. That's so beautiful. But you can't stay there because you're a blithering fool. You can't do anything. It's like under the influence of DMT, it's just like, you're just looking at everything with amazement. And so, let me move on to something else now. Now, is God a chemical? Well, what I have discerned in my life is that when samadhi comes around, it seems that there's just a chemical release. What other explanation can we have other than just God turning up your serotonin? Who knows? But it appears that something gets turned on or something gets turned off. The ego gets turned off, your serotonin gets turned on, and then this thing happens. Well, we can induce this in DMT, we can induce it in meditation. So if you think that those things are God, well, I would say to you, you need to justify that. You cannot just say, because you've read that God is love in the Bible and therefore God is the height of everything, when you've never felt it. I tell you now, these pastors and all these Bible thumpers that I was speaking to incessantly throughout my excursion, sojourn in prisons, well, they're all deluded. They're all just clutching to something because they're so terrified. That's all they're doing. They're just trying to offset their terror. And so I never had that. You know, I was confronted with the devil for several months, very, very powerfully. And in these places, there's lots of very, very devilish energies all around. These are prime feeding grounds for Satan and demons, because you've got many, many demonic people. You've got people who have demonic attachments. That's why they're there. Drug dealers, murderers, rapists, and many abhorrent people. The demons walking around all the time, and you can feel them if you're tuned into this shit. And when you're celled up with one of them, wow, it's fucking powerful. When you're celled up with a lunatic who's absolutely demonic, the whole walls just drip of that evil. Wow. So you might start to get your head around that I've experienced a thing or two, and I might just know what I'm speaking about now and rationally putting the pieces together of all this stuff. What is it that's going on? What is heaven? What is hell? States of mind. People have been to both. Heaven is a state of mind. It's a beautiful, blissful state of mind. Hell is a horrendous, heinous state of mind. We are capable of both. Consciousness embraces both. God is both God and the devil and Jesus and angels and any single thing else. God is everything. And so it's all within that, and you are a shard of the chip of God, so you are that also. So accept that, embrace it and work with it, and don't be afraid of it. Why be afraid of it? You can't run from it. It's always there. You can deny it, you can pretend it isn't, but it is, and you know it is. So getting now to God. God in the Old Testament, Yahweh, is a very unforgiving, bullying God. And when I experienced God on 3.5 grams of mushrooms, he was exactly that. When I experienced Jesus lying here on this couch, just coming out of a meditation, so just naturally induced, he was absolutely beautiful and blissful and unconditional love. Probably I would never ever feel that level of unconditional love again. I don't know, I don't want to discount that, but I'd never felt it before until that moment, and I knew what the unconditional love of Jesus felt like. It's just like, you just do 1,000 orgasms and just tears streaming down your face and vibrating, throbbing, throbbing, throbbing. That's what it's like. That's what spiritual experiences can be like, people. When these entities enter you, and when the devil gets inside your head, well, you are in hell. I'm telling you now, you are in hell, and you are on the precipice of taking your own life. And so be warned, and you've got to be really, really strong to overcome that. And probably my saving grace was that I was very versed in this stuff before I went in. I'd encountered the devil before, many years before, and I'd read a great deal about it, and I was very versed in meditation. And so I just went into meditation, and I meditated and I meditated and I meditated and I meditated. And after 6 months I had forced this negative entity completely out of my being. But for the first 3 months it was exceedingly challenging, and I wondered whether I was ever going to be able to make it. But after the 3-month period I found that I was getting stronger and stronger, and that negative energy was getting weaker and weaker. And I wasn't praying to God. I knew I was God, and I knew that I was like Jesus. I just kept thinking that it's Jesus and the devil on Mount Sinai when Jesus was propositioned by the devil. Do you want all these riches? Do you want this? Just sign this in your own blood and you belong to me, and all that sort of stuff. The unconditional love has become very symbolic in the Western world with Jesus. I wonder where we can find this unconditional love anywhere else in the world. I haven't heard of it emanating from any other religions. I'm not sure that it does. That's why Christianity is very popular. You see, in Islam, there's no unconditional love, there's just terror. You just have to believe, and you bow down to Allah the Almighty, or you'll suffer his wrath. Oh, Allah! Gonna put my bum in the air, 5 times a day. Goodness me. But, you see, when I was having this experience on psilocybin and DMT in the woods, there was the essence and presence of this unconditional love and guidance, what we in the Western world, some of us who've looked into it and felt it, have come to know as that portal, the height of the height, the most beautiful thing a human being can experience, unconditional love and security. So Jesus is the symbol, the egregore, that pertains to that offers that. And so this is why I was saying, is Jesus calling me? Because I haven't felt it so profound like that. I've had Jesus speak to me and give me all this wonderful stuff, but this calling, this working through me, so I openly, overtly state and well, I don't know, I just said it. I just said it from the heart. It seems like I've been being called for a long time. Why am I reading? Why is my bookshelf full of Jesus, 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 Christianity, and all different sorts of gurus speaking about all this, you know, this variety of love that we can find, and this peace and tranquility, and the compassion, and the non-judgment, and the acceptance, and all that. All pertains to the same thing. All pertains to Jesus, people. And so, I've still got something to learn about that. I'm still pondering it. These things, they're a big deal, and it takes a while to assimilate. The non-judgment. You see, I've wrote about all this stuff in my book. And I'm reading my book again. And I'm looking at where I was when I wrote this book. A year and a half ago, something like that. And I want to revisit it, I want to study it, and I want to be absolutely clear what I was saying in there, and do I still stand by everything. And I would love to be able to speak about that book, reading the whole thing, but you just won't be interested. You're just too bored, you're just too ignorant, you're just too naive, you're just too egoic, you're just too busy, you're just too low-level consciousness. This book, I'm always telling you, if you could get your head around this book, if you treated this book like it one day will be accepted as being the world's first spiritual Bible. And I'm not talking bullshit here. And, you know, I say this because I know I leave myself open to the most obnoxious and venomous attacks. How dare you say this is better than the Bible. I'm not saying it's better than the Bible. It's not even in relation to the Bible. The Bible is a collection of whatever you think it is. This is a guide to the spiritual realm. It's a journey through the spiritual awakening. From being in the heart of the ego to the ego absolutely crashing, from having all the trinkets and the wonderful stuff like Russell Brand did, and then come crashing down, realizing it wasn't serving you. There's a voice there, there's something else there that's calling you, and you're open, your ears are open, your eyes are open, your heart's open, and slowly you start to realize over 16 years I'm still on the journey now, and you know, it's all in here save for this last year and a half. Maybe I'm going to have to do the second edition as I get closer to something closer to God, closer to the self, a journey to the self, people. You see, these videos, they should be, by all accounts, absolutely powerful to all conscious human beings. And yet, again, there'll be so much resentment, there'll be so much ignorance, there'll be so much naivety, there'll be so much dullness, there'll be so much about you, the viewer, who just won't be able to get in conference with my vibration and feel where I'm coming from and really hear where I'm coming from. You'll have so many objections to it that you won't even be able to put a thumb up on the comment. It's absolutely shocking beyond measure. Forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. They haven't got a fucking clue. And that's the stark reality of it. Now, the non-judgment. What happens when we judge? Well, when we judge, we create negative energy within us. If we're judging like, fat twat or skinny cunt or stupid fuck, whatever, well, what do? We state and vocalize those profanities. Those profanities carry negative energy. Fuck, cunt, you know, cockface, and you know, all this sort of stuff. You don't say, oh, look at that cockface. Oh, that woman over there. Oh, that man. He's such a cunt. You know, you don't do a fucking cunt. So you create this negative energy within you. And so you are projecting this negative energy onto somebody, but you're the source of it. You're the creator of it. It's emanating from you. It resides within you. And just because you project it on someone else, it doesn't emancipate or alleviate it from you. You are it. You're the creator of it. Just like God was the creator when he created his wrath for the human race. And so this is why judging on that level isn't good, because we can carry the weight. But when we understand how this works, then we can say these things if we are in character, like I'm in character, often with supercilious. I can be giving it, oh, this and that and the other. And then at the end of the video, I go, anyway, people, blah, 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 blah. And I'm back to my default setting, aren't I? Have you recognised this? Have you seen this? Have you observed it? Have you known what's going on? Can you see that, oh, the working brain, it just keeps fluctuating into all these different sorts of fucking roles he plays. But, you know, it's incredible how people just don't see that. They're like this. They're like rabbits in the car's headlights, you know, whenever the awakened brave is speaking, because he's so commanding and he's so awe-inspiring. They're just like that, and they believe in everything he says. Oh, you said this and you said that. And then, like, I'll change my demeanour. Oh, you're all cunts, you're all fuckers, you're all gonna die. And then I'm kind of like, oh, there's a halo around my head. Oh, you beautiful people, if only you could listen. If only you could self-actualise, if only you could evolve. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I've been here for you for 16 years. I've been trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. And honestly, I should have better things to do rather than just sit down every single day making these videos for you and getting nothing of a response. But I am driven and I'm energized and I'm blessed by something far greater than this body, and that enables me, allows me, propels me, compels me, drives me to do it. And my life from this point forward, having made these videos, is going to be absolutely blissful. And I'll get on with the rest of my day knowing that I have done my bit. I've given to the world. I've given the world the opportunity, just like Jesus was. Jesus was doing it just like I am. Only, you know, lots of the stuff he said has been twisted and perverted and falsified and all the rest of it. But, you know, he was doing no more than what I'm doing now. What am I doing? I'm just trying to help you into some self-reflection, to make some realizations yourself about what you are. That's all I'm doing here, people. And you can fight it all your lives, and you can say, oh, we're just small, we're nothing, and God's everything, and Jesus is our Lord. Nobody is my Lord. I am my own fucking Lord. For fuck's sake. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. Just look at what happens to you when you do that. You see, you've got two people, Russell Brand and Terence Howard. Well, are they any less of human beings because of their perspective on Christ and Christianity and God? Do people like them any less than the other? No, I mean, they've got friends, they've got lovers, they've got partners, they've got business colleagues and everything. They're all successful in their own right. They're doing it their own way, but they think very, very differently about the world and how they live in it and how they operate in it. And so, why should we be any particular way if we're God? And so, when we look at it, really, and if we look at, well, we don't really even have much, if any, free will. Can we be blamed for anything? We're just a collection. We're a result of every single experience we've had through life. And if we've been traumatized and abused and this, that and the other, well, what are we going to be in the end? What are we going to be? And can we blame these people? Can we put them in prison for the rest of their lives because something that their parents created, or their carers created, or their uncle creeping into their bedroom at night and sexually assaulting them? Can we put them in prison because of the crimes of their abusers? We've got to look at these things, people. I mean, the human being, the egoic human being, is so unevolved. It's got a long, long, long way to go. And I'm just here addressing some of these things, and I'm just presenting some of these things to you, so you may want to think about them. For more than it takes just to listen to what I'm saying. Contemplate these things. Do your own introspection and feel these things through and see where you stand. So if we don't judge in a negative way, then we don't create that energy. And if we give people the benefit of the doubt and we love, or we have compassion and empathy, then we create those feelings and chemicals in our bodies. So these feelings, people, they all pertain to chemicals. Now, if you've got love and compassion, all those wonderful things, then you've got serotonin, your dopamine, norepinephrine, and they're these beautiful neurotransmitters which keep your brain and your thoughts and your life healthy. If you've got cortisol dripping through, which is produced by your negative venom, then you're living in fear and hate. And you see, that's the difference between cortisol, which is the fight or flight hormone. These hormones, they're responsible for lots of things. And so if you listen to doctors speaking about them, or scientists or whatever, if you can believe anything they fucking say, then they're going to be telling you that they're responsible for many, many things. But primarily, the cortisol is the fight or flight. It's going to put you in a state of angst. It's going to make you afraid, and when we're afraid, we're going to be in self-protection mode. When we're in self-protection mode, we're going to do everything for ourselves at the expense of anybody else. So that's what happens, people, when you judge another person and you create these negative chemicals within your brain, and they permeate through your whole body. You become them. And so, I know exactly what's going on, don't I? But I am a paradox and I'm a contradiction, because I seem to be doing these things that I am so wise that I shouldn't be doing them. But what I'm saying is, I don't carry the weight of them. I'm not creating these chemicals. I'm acting out the role. I'm not feeling that. You see, that's the difference. I can go into character. Do you think any actor that's acting out a monster on the screen, do you think they are carrying the weight of that murder and that trauma that they are creating? They're acting as if they are those parts, but they're not, are they? You know, when the scene is done, everyone congratulates them, and it's kind of like, oh, let's go and have a cup of tea now. Oh, that was a wonderful part. Oh, you really looked like you was the devil himself. I was terrified of you. And oh, thank you very much. Yes, I mean, I learned a lot from acting school. And so that's basically what I'm doing. I don't believe in nothing. There's nothing here. All it is this collection of ideas, people. Like Plato said, it's forms and ideas. And there's no substance to human life. There is consciousness here, and there are thoughts, and we create our fiction out of the thoughts. And so whatever you think, whatever you invariably think, turns into a feeling, and then that becomes what you would call you, the self, the I. So when we accept, we're still. We're absolutely calm. Everything is melted away. When we no longer have the propensity to judge, the calmness, the stillness, it comes washing over us. When we love, we create well-being. So out of the stillness and the acceptance and the non-judgment comes the peace and love and the notion and essence of Jesus, unconditional love. I won't say God, because God's too controversial, because God is yin and yang. You see, if you really look into these biblical stories and you follow the lineage of what was said to have happened and what was written, and God created the heavens and the earth and did all this, and he created Adam and Eve, and then he told them not to do this, and then they did it, so then he cursed the whole of humanity. And then that wasn't good enough, because humanity was terrible, it was heinous, and so he decided, well, he's just going to pick a couple, Noah and his family, and he's going to kill everybody else, going to kill all the animals, going to kill everything. He's just going to start again. And then he started again, and then it still wasn't good. Oh, goodness me. And so, like, God's like this, what am I going to do? Okay, the only thing I can do is make manifest as a human being and go down to earth and let them kill me, and hopefully that will still their hearts. Hopefully they may find some compassion then with what they've done. Hopefully they will become self-realized. Hopefully they will realize the wrongness of their ways, and they will evolve more into pensive and kind and considerate and loving human beings. Well, that's what the death of Christ on the cross is supposed to have done for us. It's given us that opportunity, and God realized then what it was like to be a human being. So now Yahweh of the Old Testament has compassion indeed, compassion via living vicariously through the Son Jesus, because Jesus was perfect, born perfect, and so his main attribute was love and compassion, which is the height of all things. And so then when God experienced those attributes through that human being, well, then he took that back with him, and now he resides more calm and in the back seat while Jesus runs the show. If you can get your heads around that, people. So anyway, I think I've said enough here. I've highlighted these points. I've exhibited where I am in my journey, and I wonder where you are in your journey. I wonder whether you have engaged with these things like I am engaging with them. Whether you give them any thought or you don't. Either way, just to have a little bit of response on these videos would enable me to be able to dress you better. Because if I don't get anything all the time, having revealed my heart, having revealed my God consciousness, my Christos, if I can't reach you like this, people, what the fuck do you want? What the fuck is going on with you? If a human being speaking from the heart, from this position of compassion and love and acceptance and non-judgment and cosmic God consciousness, if I can't reach you speaking to you like this, you're unreachable, aren't you? And you have to reflect upon that you must be dead. You must be a zombie. You don't have a heart. You think you love. You think you have a heart. You speak all these things, but all you're doing is just doing what a robot does. You don't actually really feel these things. Have you really felt acceptance? Have you really felt non-judgment? Have you really felt unconditional love? Have you really felt abject terror? I shouldn't wonder that you haven't. If you have, you might want to just put a few lines down and put that scenario down and how you felt about it. Can you feel, people? Can you exhibit your passion? I wonder.